Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
two certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only two best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go. Hi.
Hey. So today is your last day to work with us in the coming months in one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, you got to fill out a form by the end of the day.
Today's your last day.
I'm not even sure if you fill out a form today when I will talk to you, because I don't know how many people have filled out a form in the past week and a half since we recorded this. So, it's okay if you fill it out on the last day, but then you got to deal with the consequences of having been the person who filled it out on the last day, which means you might have to wait a couple weeks to talk to me.
You still get to talk to us, but you have to, first come, first serve. We only have so much time on our calendar. Yeah. So today's the last day. If you are seriously thinking about getting started with some coaching in the next few weeks, if you're not ready to get started for months, then now's not the right time.
We'll be back.
Open coaching enrollment again in what?
Like 4 months.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months. So you can come back again then. But for those of you who do not want to wait that long and you want to start making some changes in your life, in your career, like sooner rather than later, then definitely make sure you reach out today.
I've had a couple conversations lately with people in various walks of life who are overthinking everything.
We get a lot of those, yeah.
It's just very normal at the beginning of coaching. They're like, I've tried this and I've tried that and I've talked to this person and I've done this informational interview and I have 5 different things that I've literally talked to multiple people in the past week who are like, I'm considering this and I'm considering that. And I'm like, yo, stop. Because the thinking has not gotten you anywhere. Because why? Okay, go into a store. Here's another analogy. Every time you hear a different analogy from me and you get to choose which one you like. It's like going into a store and there's all these different varieties of products, but you don't know which one you want. It's like going Bath and Body Works, right? But you can't smell any of them. Well, I don't know which one I want. Just from the packaging, just from the name, cucumber melon, love spell. No, that's a Victoria's Secret.
You're combining
whatever.
Like shops here.
You don't know because you haven't actually experienced all of them. And even that, to be honest, wouldn't be a very good way to figure out your life path. First, I have to go experience and try on all of them before I figure it out. That would take me years. Mm-hmm. So coaching is about helping you get clear on what you want and helping you identify it so that you can go into a situation with really good discernment and know what you're attracted to, what you want, without having to necessarily try it on before knowing this might be a good fit for me. Let me decide. It's a way of A, narrowing down your options, and B, before you even get to the point where you can narrow down your options, getting out of your own way. Some of you are overthinking because you aren't feeling or intuiting.
Okay, so the overthinking can go so far that I love when I love when people tell me this because I find it funny. Some of you will come to coaching and you'll be like, but I don't know if I've figured out enough stuff before, in order to be able to do coaching. I still have too many things that I'm considering and I feel like I need to just pick something and then do coaching. I'm like, no. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to have figured it all out. That's why if you had already figured it out, you don't really need coaching anymore. Then you just need an accountability person.
The answer you want is not going to come from thinking about it more. It's just not. It's going to come from doing less thinking, period, more feeling, more intuiting. And a lot of you are so blocked that you don't know how to do either of those things.
And we know how to help you do those things. So I promise the clarity is going to come from the coaching. You don't have to figure it out first. And I hope that gives some of you a little bit of relief because you've been trying so hard to figure these things out. And if you feel like you have to figure it out before you can get the most out of coaching, you're never going to figure it all out. You can't think your way out of some of these things. So just trust. We know how to get you to a place of greater clarity. That is what we're all about.
No one stumps me at this point.
No.
Like nobody.
It's been too long. We've done it too many times.
Sometimes you stump yourself, but you don't stump me. So it's just, and no one is so special that their issues are brand new. It's just kind of human, the stuff we fall into. It's not unique or special to us, really. Which should feel good, I think.
I know. I do feel like a lot of people come to coaching feeling like they're uniquely blocked. Like, but I feel extra blocked. I don't know that you can handle this. I'm like, trust me.
It's very usually not the case. There's some people who need to be in therapy, maybe before they get to coaching, but the vast majority of people we meet, they are just like everybody else in a good way.
In a good way. I hope that's validating.
So maybe do less thinking. And if you're thinking about whether you should do coaching, maybe just talk to us about it. And then I'll promise you, I'll help you get an answer on the conversation.
And if it is really and truly not the right fit or not the right time,
that's fine.
We will tell you. We are not going to bully you into coaching with us. I promise.
I really don't.
That is not fun for us.
I like my time so much that the last thing I want to do is work with someone who doesn't want to be there. Like, just quit. I'll give you your money back. I don't care. I just don't want to work with you if you don't want to be there.
Yeah, we really, really want this to be the right fit for all the way around. So I promise we are not going to like bully you or pressure you into doing this if it's not right.
Okay. So link in show notes, or you can go to clarityonfire.com. The Work With Us tab has a one-on-one coaching page. You can check that out and then fill out a form to chat with us, and we will schedule some time with you.
And if this is past Friday the 5th, when you go click on that form, you're going to see it's a waitlist form.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can still fill it out. It just means you're going to have to wait a little while.
Yeah. We'll let you know what our situation is at that time if we see a waitlist form from you. Okay. This is a Dear Krachel.
New Dear Krachel.
We only have 2 questions today. Because I knew that we would spend some time at the beginning talking about coaching, and also because it's a little bit on the longer side. And I feel like we might
a little heavier.
Talk. Yeah, they're a little bit heavier. So I didn't want 3 heavy topics. I figured 2 heavier ones was better than 1 or better than 3. Okay. Hey, ladies, thanks for being here. I feel like I can be real with you and don't have to act happy when I'm not. Very true. You do not have to act happy around us.
Please don't. We want you to be your real self.
I've spent the past year or so digging into my issues and trying to solve them once and for all. I've discovered I have a lot of bitterness and resentment due to feeling like I have to be what everyone else wants. I'm extremely sensitive and deeply affected by what people say, especially if it's hurtful. I absorb the negativity and it derails me. I'm getting to a point now where I feel supported enough that I'm able to actually move forward with my writing and a website I'm working on starting. But I still feel the weight and hear negative comments, sometimes from decades ago, echoing in my head. I know what people say and do is about them, not me. I've unfollowed people and pages and spent less time on social media, but people are still going to be people in real life. I feel like this has been a year that's brought out everyone's worst qualities. How can I stop absorbing the negative energy and thoughts? Ready to move forward.
Okay, ready to move forward. I want to just first commend you. Like, you've clearly done some serious introspection. You have tried to cut out some of the sources of negativity. I can tell you're committed to trying to change. This person
has worked very hard.
Your mind. Yeah, you've worked really hard. You've put in the effort. And especially being someone who's so highly sensitive, this year has been hard. I know that. And just trust you're not alone in feeling like, whoo, this has been a lot. And if you compound that with, some negativity from people in your life on top of just general negativity, it can feel really burdensome. So I feel you and I commend you for what you have done. And I think in terms of trying to cut out some of the sources of negativity, right? You said you've unfollowed or blocked some people on social media. You're trying to take in less negativity. I think you've done pretty well.
I think you're doing probably as well as most people can expect to do.
Because you're right. Front. You can't shut out all the negativity of all people. No. You're going to come in contact with people.
Or just the world.
You can't do it. you're going to, solicited or unsolicited, you're going to get it.
You're going to see it in the
sometimes.
news. Whether or not it's about you at all, you're going to see it in the world.
Exactly. So you can cut it out as much as you can, but you can't cut it out for good. So you've done pretty much as well as you can.
However, there's a difference, I think, between cutting back, and addition. So I think you've cut back on negative energy a lot. Maybe that if we talk to you, there are areas where we'd find that you could still stand to be stronger about not letting people's energy in. But one of the best ways to bolster your energy and make it so that negative energy doesn't affect you is to amp up the positive. So I feel like what you wrote to us was more heavily weighted toward cutting back and elimination, but addition is really important too. And I think one of the comments you made kind of exemplifies this, where you said, this has been a year that's brought out everyone's worst qualities. And I want to go, I also think if you look for it, this has been a year that's brought out a lot of people's good qualities too.
And
why aren't we talking about that?
It depends so much on what you're paying attention to.
Yeah.
And I will validate.
I mean, yes, it has been a shit year, okay?
There's been a lot of negativity that has demanded your attention. And even in some of the darkest periods that many of us have been through, you can always find examples of humanity at its best. And sometimes in a crisis, you can find that more than even usual.
Yeah.
So there are people who are doing really, really good work in the middle of a global crisis.
Yes.
And if you seek out those stories, that might lift your spirits a lot more than you even realize. I know there's news sources out there that are just positive news.
Yeah.
And it might be worth checking on that once a day.
Yeah.
I know you can't block out all the negative stuff. It's still going to keep happening.
I look at the positive news every day. I follow a couple of only positive news. And it's just so fun. It's like this horse takes herself on a walk every day through this English countryside
you sent
town.
me that one and it made me so happy.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you have to curate the energy that comes into your experience. And curation is not just about being cautious about what you let in. It's about purposefully letting in things that are good for you too.
Yes.
That's like dieting. It's like, well, I'm not going to eat bacon and I'm not going to eat pancakes and I'm not going to no. But then you don't add in anything healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Then it's just depressing.
Right.
You go eat a meal. You're like, I can't eat anything good.
Right.
Well, okay, there is some really good stuff that you can make that is healthy that you could start looking forward to. So you can shift your mindset from blocking negative energy to actively looking for and seeking and incorporating positive energy. And in addition to some positive news, which again, I think we all need a little bit of that right now, I think for someone who is so highly sensitive and so emotional as you, and I speak from experience because Rachel and I are both highly sensitive people as well in our own ways, I think you might really benefit from having not just a positive connections with people, but a safe space that you can go to. You mentioned you're a writer. Maybe this is a writing group. Maybe this is some sort of a accountability group or a mastermind.
It sounded like you said accountability as if you're like a 1930s gangster or something.
I couldn't even say that again if I tried.
Accountability.
I'm the worst at accents except in an accident. But I do think you might find a lot of value in creating your own little tribe of people who are safe, who are positive, who are interested in the same kinds of things, who are stretching themselves creatively.
Wow.
Creatively. Man, I really can't talk today. It's made a big difference for me. I have a group of fellow coach friends we have a group text that we are in almost every day. We do accountability sessions together.
You have multiple coach groups.
I do.
Actually.
I have multiple coach groups. It makes a big difference for highly sensitive people to have those places to go to.
Yeah.
And you might have to create it. You might have to be the instigator of something like that.
I remember
I think you'd benefit from it.
When, again, as a highly sensitive person who also had a decade ago, probably had a lot more sort of negative energy around me and just things that drained my energy instead of added to it, that it wasn't, at first, it was cutting back from people and things that no longer aligned with me and having good boundaries and all of that. And that's helpful, but it can also be lonely.
Yeah.
And so I want you to have a sense of community and connection, because that does so much to bolster your energetic boundaries and make it easier not to let in the negative shit when you have a group of people who are very like unconditionally supportive of you and who you can go to and say, I did this. This was really hard. I'm doubting myself. And they will help you, not go off the rails about yourself, and that they'll encourage you and or normalize what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
So having that has made such a difference. Like, it makes, when negative people say negative things, it makes it meaningless, to be honest, because their voice doesn't echo very much, because there's this other echo chamber that I have that's way more positive and uplifting.
Yeah. If all you're doing is removing negativity, the highest you can get to is neutral.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel that much better, frankly. So in order to get past neutral, you have to purposely add positivity.
Yeah. Which, again, is not like bullshit positivity. I'm not talking about affirmations, though I know some people like them. I'm not saying that if you like affirmations, don't do them, but it's more like, I understand when people say add positivity. I'm not saying get up every day and look at yourself in the mirror and go, you're a sensational. Though, I mean, I think that would be kind of fun.
You might laugh at yourself at the very least.
You could, but it's less about faking. I'm not talking about faking positivity. I'm talking about seeking out actual, real, concrete people and examples of positive energy.
Mm-hmm. They both exist all the time. There's darkness out there and there's a lot of light as well.
Yeah.
And you get to choose where you put your attention most of the time.
So I hope that helps, because it was a good question. And we hadn't talked about that.
It's a very current question
in a long time.
Too. Especially given the episode we just released earlier this week, where sometimes it just feels like you're in a slog for a long time and things are hard.
And people are mean. And
there's just a lot of negativity out there. And that might be true, but you can always shift your focus.
Yeah.
In our coaching, in one of our coaching videos where we share some different concepts about changing your belief system, we call it changing your perspectives. It's like putting on a different pair of glasses, of different pair of spectacles that changes your perspective. So I want you to find a pair of positivity perspectives that you can put on occasionally and look at the world through a little bit of a different lens.
Einstein says that, I've quoted this so many times, but it's because it's a banger, the most important choice you'll ever make is whether you decide you live in a friendly or a hostile universe. And I get hostile universe vibes from this message, not because you're hostile, but because you believe you live in a hostile, barren environment where people are going to be mean to you, and you have experiences like that. And that's valid. We're not here to invalidate that experience, but we're also here to open you up to the fact that you also have a choice to believe you live in a friendly universe, and then look for evidence of that. And when you seek evidence, you find it. You
will find it. I promise you will.
Okay, on to the next one, which is not going to do anything to prove that we live in a friendly universe. But just to be a little bit ironic, continue.
Okay. I'm halfway through my senior year of college. The program I will be applying to is very competitive, and unfortunately, my parents are not supportive or believe that I can do it. For years, they have called me average in everything I do. After I took my first ACT exam, my first set of grades from college, even when I got accepted into my dream school, they said I wouldn't exceed because I was an average student. Every semester, I've walked into a classroom with the thought, what's the point? I can never ascend to great things. This has caused me to question every decision of my life and has affected my ability to study and do well in school. It has limited me so much. Since I am close to graduating, I'm terrified to even try to apply to programs. My parents have supported me financially for my undergrad and everything. So when I talk about my mental state and how it's being affected by negative responses from my parents, I'm told I'm being ungrateful, which isn't true at all. I am so grateful. But now it's so hard to even pursue or move on to the next stage of life when my parents' words have a hold on me. How do I detach myself from my parents? How do I not let their words affect me, since I was raised with the idea of parents know best and they won't mislead you? I have no confidence and always question myself. I want to change that. And that is from Emily. Is your heart breaking as much as my heart is breaking?
Yes, but when my heart breaks, fire and rage come out of it. like a phoenix reborn from the ashes. I would Dracarys her parents if I could. Sorry, Emily, but I don't like them. Okay, so I just want to make it very, very, very clear a couple of things up front. One, this is an abusive relationship, period. Like, we're not arguing about that because you go to any therapist, they'll tell you.
In fact, that might be a good idea.
If you haven't
really
been to therapy, Emily, you need to go to therapy.
Because these are the kinds of family relationships that they're really good at helping you detach from in a healthy way.
Yeah, this is emotional verbal abuse, period. Like, just full stop, period. That is what you have experienced growing up. I am so sorry that has been your experience. And you are living evidence of what happens when someone grows up with people who are like that, is that they question everything about themselves.
They feel small. They feel incapable. They feel a lack of confidence. They feel like they can't move forward. These are all symptoms of verbal abuse and really any kind of
emotional. Yeah.
Emotional
abuse. So, let's just be very clear. Your parents are incorrect. Your parents are likely the product of verbal emotional abuse themselves, or else they wouldn't be communicating with you like this, which doesn't excuse it.
They don't know better, clearly, or else they would do better.
Yes.
And they're probably recreating what they grew up with. So I don't think anyone are bad people. I think people have bad experiences and end up recreating them.
Yes.
And deflecting them all over other people. And you are the
victim of that.
Yes. You're getting that spillover.
Your parents are projecting onto you. If I were to theorize, your parents are very, very afraid of being mediocre themselves.
Or maybe we're told that they are mediocre.
Yes. And so oddly, often what people think is motivating is scare people into thinking they are something so that they'll be motivated not to be. So they're going to try to scare you into thinking you're mediocre and you can't achieve things because maybe they think that's the best way for you to be motivated to be successful.
It's kind of the drill sergeant effect. It's that way of motivating.
Tear you down to raise you up or something.
Call you weak and hope that it lights a fire in you.
Yeah, sure. Real motivating.
It doesn't work.
Also, sometimes people tear you down so that you won't leave them. Mm-hmm. So that you won't...
Or reliant on them.
So that you won't get highfalutin ideas and abandon the family, right? No, the family does this. You don't do that. So to keep you from sort of getting too far away from the dynamic, they might have to tear you down.
Which ultimately backfires because as
you can't wait to get away, I bet.
You want to detach now because of this. So
also, kudos to you for knowing this is bullshit and wanting to detach from it at a young age.
I know. I really, really want to commend your extreme level of self-awareness at such a young age.
Yeah, she's not even done with college yet.
I know. It's amazing. You have so much more self-awareness than the vast majority of college seniors, or even older, frankly.
Yeah.
And the fact that you recognize you need to do a really hard thing, which is detach from your parents and build your own sense of confidence, is miles beyond where a lot of people are. So that tells me right there, you are not average. You're not average in terms of your self-awareness, in terms of wanting to grow and become the best version of you possible, and to be someone who knows your capabilities and has people around you who support you. The fact that you know that and want that and are seeking that tells me so much about you, Emily.
Take a leaf out of Ready to Move Forward's book and start cutting negativity out of your life.
Yes, truly,
right?
Truly.
So that then we can add positivity because yes. So again, the number one piece of advice I have for you, Emily, is go to therapy. And if you are in therapy and you aren't satisfied, find a therapist who satisfies you. Do not settle for mediocre therapy. There's plenty of great people who can help with family dynamics like this. And I know that you're in college and I don't know what that means about, who's available to you.
I hope there are some great mental health resources.
Yes, at your campus school or something, but I need you to go to therapy.
This is what therapists are really best suited to.
This is the bread and butter is the mommy and daddy issues that you are struggling with. So that's thing number one. If you did nothing else, you would get a gold star from me if you did that. The other thing is you can have any kind of relationship with your parents that you want to, including no relationship with them. I know that that is hard and that could be super challenging to even contemplate, but I want to give you permission to, at least, if you don't want to talk to your parents ever again and you want to have an estranged relationship with them and you want to break up with your parents because they've been nothing but shitty to you your whole life, okay, I'm totally fine with you doing that, because you don't owe people who tear you down anything. Would you want to have a relationship if they weren't your parents and they were just two people who tore you down constantly? How quickly would your friendship with them end?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Why would we have a relationship based off of that? The only reason they have a relationship right now is because they're family.
Yeah.
I think personally we should have relationships with people based on more than just our biological connection to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that we should owe each other things, not because we're related, but because we like each other and because we want to support each other.
Mm-hmm. I wrote a blog a while back about keeping new ideas to yourself for a while. And part of that was when you are ready to start sharing things, you find some safe people. And I'm telling you right now, your parents are not safe people.
No,
they need to be like the last people that you share ideas with or plans with, because they will make you feel bad about them. They've proven that your entire life. They're not going to change. We have to stop hoping that they're going to change. We can't change people. We need to meet them as they are and deal with them accordingly.
Yeah. You're going to make yourself crazy.
So I really, really want you to find some safe people. And I hope you already have some. I hope you have some good friends or a good therapist, someone who you can go to and share ideas with in a safe space and figure out, do I even want this? How do I feel about this? Because right now, I think a lot of your ideas are running through the filter of, can I do this? And am I going to feel incapable because my parents are going to make me question myself? So we have to take them out of the equation until the very, very, very end, if at all.
Yeah. I mean,
you can tell
sure.
them after you have made a decision, hey, by the way, I'm going to do this.
And when they throw a tantrum about the fact that you didn't include them in your decision-making, or that you're an ungrateful brat because you just do things now without telling them, you can say, if you so choose, that's for people who've earned the right to hear what's happening in my life. And
by supporting me and being encouraging.
Yeah. And not trying to tear me down at every interval. So no, people who tear me down don't have the right to hear my life story and my updates and to help me make decisions.
And they might call you ungrateful. But
sure.
Guess what? You are ungrateful for their
bullshit?
Lack of support and for them making you feel bad about yourself all the time.
You're right. I'm not grateful for this dynamic. You can be for the tearing down.
Very grateful for the financial resources that they have given you, for paying for school and all of that. But you don't have to be grateful for people making you feel bad about yourself.
No. People paying for things and then expecting you to be grateful
is very manipulative.
It's super manipulative. It's actually an abuse tactic.
Mm-hmm.
That when people pay for things, then they think that gives them carte blanche to treat you however they want, because you should be grateful. No, bullshit. Though it might be very helpful for you to disentangle yourself financially from your parents as soon as you can, because then they don't have any leverage over you anymore. And they will still try, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be easier for you to have a boundary around that.
So you asked, how can I detach from them? That's the first thing I want you to try, is stop sharing things with them until you are so solid in it that it doesn't even matter what they say. And it will still hurt to hear them disparage an idea or make you feel incapable of doing it. But if you have built yourself up and built up your ideas and your plans with people who are supportive and who see the best in you and believe in you, then that will bolster you when you go share it with them. Do not share ideas with them. Do not share anything with them if you are still shaky.
Yeah.
I promise that will be the beginning and the end of that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll never know if you even really wanted it, because they'll have squashed it.
Mm-hmm. These people.
We need real boundaries. Serious boundaries.
I think you're just very remarkable, really, to have succeeded anyway, despite the tearing down.
And you have succeeded. I know you don't probably believe us when we say that, but you have.
You have succeeded. And for you to be self-aware enough to realize how hard of a toll this has taken on you emotionally at a young age is a form of success that a lot of people listening to this didn't reach for decades later, to be honest. They turn around and tell you that. I can promise you everyone listening to this is on your side. Is hearing this and going, well, that's fucking bullshit. There are moms listening to this who are horrified that someone treated a kid like that. You know, they couldn't imagine.
You are getting
tearing down
so many virtual hugs right now, Emily. I can feel that energy, and we haven't even posted this yet.
It just makes me want to rage.
So everyone's in your corner here.
Yeah.
Everyone wants you to see the best in yourself that already has always been there, has always been capable. And I want you to find people who see that and want to encourage that.
And I'm so sorry that the people who should be able to see that the most are the ones who are hurting you the most.
Truly, I'm so sorry about that.
That's why you need to go to therapy, is because you need to be able to process the grief of your parents not being able to actually love you. And it's not that they don't love you, because they would say they do, probably, but their conception of love is twisted as fuck. And it's not actually unconditional.
My heart hurts for them as children too, because there's no way.
You don't get like that.
There's no way that they were getting the love and support and encouragement that they needed as kids either.
They have their own trauma. And to be frank, they probably had no right procreating, but here you are, and we're glad you're here.
We're very glad you're here.
But you know, if everyone who had a right to procreate procreated, we wouldn't have any overpopulation issues. We probably have underpopulation issues. You know?
I know you don't feel capable of great things, Emily, but I'm already telling you, you're already doing great things.
Oh, guess how much better you're doing than your parents, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing way better than them, because they're not writing into any podcasts to ask for personal development advice. They're not interested in personal development, I'm pretty sure. So there's another episode for you that I would really like you to go listen to after this. It's from August of 2019. It's called, it's a side chat about Fruit of the Poisonous Tree. And it's kind of about what happens when we have, like, the consequences of having a belief that's completely faulty.
That came from a corrupted source.
And you've got some serious Fruit of the Poisonous Tree vibes going on here. You need to go listen to that as your next homework assignment, okay? Big hug, Emily.
Yes, big hug. Big hug to both
I know it feels very real right now, what she's going through, and it's very probably all-consuming. And I know that in 5 years, in 10 years, she's going to look back and be like, wow, I came a long way. And I learned
building so much strength.
And I learned how to set boundaries. And you're going to be proud of yourself for how much you ended up achieving.
We're already proud of you, but you'll be proud of yourself soon, I promise.
It won't last forever, this feeling. And you'll find people who will become a better version of your family than your family is to you.
Yeah. You can create your own family in adulthood.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to. So go to therapy, Emily, and then tell us that you did it, okay? I feel like we need to like sage everyone after that, and Emily's parents.
I know.
Like, bless their hearts. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we say to them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, you know, last chance to get coaching. You know where to go, what to do, who to talk to. It's us. And then we'll be back when? Next Friday.
Week.
Oh, yeah. With a normal person interview.
Okay.
I don't even know exactly what we're talking about yet.
You know who you're talking to.
But I know who I'm talking to, so I know you're going to want to come back because it's going to be real entertaining.
It's going to be fun.
So we'll see you next Friday for that.
See you then.